Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Immersion Screenwriting webinar. We are live. Now, my voice will take about 30 seconds to come to you, so I won't notice whether or not this is working until a few seconds from now. But as soon as you hear me, can you please maybe type some acknowledgement in the chat to make sure that you can indeed hear me? Are we live? We've got over 100 people now. It's still going up, 130. Yes, excellent. Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good night, wherever you are. Brilliant. Look at that, a stream of positive feedback. We're loud and clear everywhere in the world. It's amazing. This is the biggest webinar I've done so far. I hope the course will be equally exciting. It's a bit nerve-wracking, I must say, not just the fact that we're so many people from all over the world in all sorts of crazy time zones, but also technically there will be a bit of strain on the server as soon as people go onto the course, which is towards the end of the webinar. But we've tested it and it should be fine. Now, some of you can't hear me, and maybe I'll type in the chat. If you cannot hear me, check your audio settings or simply reconnect. So if anything happens during this webinar and you lose either audio or picture, easiest thing to do is reconnect at the bottom of the screen. I think before you entered the webinar, there should have been a video explaining the most important things of it. All right, let's get started. I'll turn my video camera on. Later on, there'll also be hi guys. There should be a higher definition version of this. Good. I'm going to share a bit of a slide with the diary for today, with the schedule for today. Here we go. So on the agenda, what are we going to do? There'll be a brief introduction about myself and about the course. I'll explain what you can expect from this course, what the objectives are, and I'll say a few words about student pledges. About 50 of you know what I'm talking about. For the others, that may come as a surprise, but it's an essential part of this course of making it work, because it is free, and free things aren't always very effective, but I think I found a workaround for that. We'll talk a little bit about the course components. What are you supposed to do in the 180 days, in the 6 months that it will be running? And we'll have a quick look at the website as well, and I'll guide you through the various pages that will be relevant as you work through it. There's also a closed Facebook group. In fact, there are 2 groups because there was such an interest in this course. There's a first core group, and you guys, if you're in it, you've already communicated with one another. You're going to launch today. For the others, I've just created a second group, and I'll invite you to that group. If you're not part of the first group, then you'll be invited towards the end of the webinar. And then, before the hour is up, we should be launching, and you guys can start doing the work, because that is really what it is all about. It's an action course. It's not about wisdom and insights as much as it is doing. It's about writing, and that's how you learn writing, by doing it. At the end, I'll also explain what Group 2 can expect and what they can do immediately today. So, introduction, a little bit about myself. Most of you may be familiar with the story department or with my courses. I've taught here in Sydney. I've taught various places over the world. Originally, I'm from Europe, from Belgium, and I still go there to teach. I regularly teach in Sweden, a wonderful film school on the island of Gotland. And I publish on the blog, The Story Department. Now, my background is originally in radio. Then I went to television, where I bought film rights. I would be involved in acquisition and negotiations of independent films for the largest pay TV operator in Europe, which is Canal+. So I've been familiar with reading screenplays since the mid-1990s, when I would be sent screenplays for consideration for pre-sales and investment. And later, when I moved to Australia in the early 2000s, I worked as a producer briefly and started teaching about 10 years ago. The story department celebrates its 10th anniversary this year. Now, who's on the call? I wanted to see who you guys are. There are probably a few lurkers in the sense that you may be just listening in out of interest what this course may be all about without being serious. But taking it, that's fine. That's fine. And if you're not ready to jump in because it is a big requirement, then just sit it out. And when you're ready, you can join in. Okay, so some people are still having issues with connection, but I think, yeah, the others, thank you for helping each other out. The best thing to do is to reconnect when you're experiencing tech issues. So what crazy time zones are you in? I know that Mel was going to get up because it was 3 a.m. I think in Norway, 3 a.m. for you as well. Now, if it turns out that quite a few of you are in time zones that are not compatible with this particular time, then I may do future webinars at different times, or if we really need to, we'll do two. There's only a monthly webinar, so I can do twice a month. That should be fine. Eastern Time USA, California, Australian California. That's Jordan. Hi, Jordan. Darren, it's 7 p.m. in the US. That's Pacific time, I think. Daniel, 9 p.m. John is in New York. John, are you still driving? Have you made it out of the city yet? Because you were trying to get out of New York City, I think. 9 p.m. in Atlanta. Cool. Okay, so these are fairly manageable times, except for the poor souls in Europe. Portugal, 2 a.m. Well done, David, for rocking up this morning. And so who of you has studied with me before, either in Sydney or elsewhere or online? I know there's some people from the story series. I see Gita, Tom's on the call, Leon maybe on the call as well. Well, Bernice, yeah, Sarah, and who else? Julie, Ainsley, Lois, Heidi, Kate, Lena. Good. Octavia, good to see you. Joe, Miguel. Oh, look at that. That's a nice crowd. Thanks for rocking up, guys. And I'll give you a bit of an introduction how this started, because why would I do a free course? It's bad business, right? Well, there was this post on the screenwriting group on Facebook. It's a big group. It's about 17,000 people. And someone posted a request to be explained how to write a screenplay, step by step, but no money involved. And obviously, there was a massive backlash of people who didn't like that sort of question, because how dare you? How dare you ask people to explain how to write a script for free? And, rightfully, it takes time. It's not something you do in 5 minutes. And for people to share their time, they expect something in return. Well, this boy was not prepared to pay any money. Maybe he didn't have any money. In any case, I thought about it rather than adding to the avalanche of abuse that he copped. I thought, okay, well, how can we help? Now, if you think about it, a lot of people learn screenwriting without courses. In fact, the teachers, many of the teachers, have learned writing by doing it, or by analyzing scripts or analyzing movies. And this is how I've learned much of what I teach. So why could I not put something together in a similar vein? Start thinking about it. And I know that quite some successful people say, well, the best way of learning screenwriting is by reading scripts and writing every day. The question, obviously, which scripts? And I think that's where I can help. I've made a selection, because a few months ago, I went through my screenplay collection. It turns out I've got over 2,000 scripts. So I went through that collection and picked 20. It's about 1%. The top 1%, I believe you can learn from. And this is what I recommend you read very carefully. You read them, with a great level of attention, analytically, and at the same time, you're going to write every day. Now, how can I offer that sort of thing for free? Well, because it requires minimal intervention from me. There is no tutor, and we're actually running ahead on the expectations. So, but the background is, so I saw this post on Facebook. The poor boy, turned out he was a young guy here on the east coast of Australia, who genuinely wanted to see if anyone wanted to help him. And in fact, I doubt, that's the irony, I doubt whether he's on the call, but those things happen. And here we are. So a few weeks later, I think we're about 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, the course is there. Now, the objectives. At the end, you will have a screenplay. You'll have a first draft script. It will be rough, but I think we will be surprised. We'll all be surprised about the quality of scripts, because you will learn first by osmosis. And by reading amazing scripts, by going through them in fine detail, by writing and copying scripts every day, you will develop a muscle memory that will help you do the right thing as you're trying to translate the ideas in your mind onto the page. What to expect. So at the end, you have that script, and then, what then? Are you lost? Well, in the blurb that you've been reading, I say you'll be ready for your first professional feedback. Now, that is not an invitation for me to send you your screenplay with a check. Obviously, you can do that, but that's not the first idea. I would like to follow you guys as much as I can, and I would like to read some of your work. Now, there's going to be 55 people, and I cannot read all the scripts. I cannot even read part of all the scripts. But here's what I will do. I will read everybody's logline and your first page. Okay, I think that's fair. So for everyone who delivers a first draft script at the end of this course, I will read your logline and your first page. Then I will, out of those, I will pick 5 that I will be reading the first 10 pages. And we've got a core of 5 people who will kind of pre-selected, call them the VIPs if you wish. I will read their first 10 pages anyway. Okay, so they're in the good books already. I will read their first 10 pages. All the others have to compete. So you have to have a kick-ass first page and a kick-ass logline, and I may read your first 10 pages. At the end, both groups will be in competition. The 5 from the VIP group and everyone else will be competing against one another, because I will read one full script. No pay. Okay, that's just that's my bonus at the end of this. At the end of the 6 months, I will read what seems to be the best screenplay based on the logline, based on the first 10 pages. Okay, that's what you can expect. So that during the course, there's no tutor. You are your own tutor. You will discover what great screenwriting is all about. This is a very different course from the numerous courses I've been teaching over the past 10 years. I'm not sharing my insights. Okay, you need to develop your own. And you'll see how valuable that is. What this course does offer is accountability. And that's critically important, because that's where often people drop off. Even in the expensive courses that I and other people teach, people put a large amount of money down and then they drop off because there's no accountability. That's what this course has to offer. But there is something at the other end that I will talk about in a minute that is essential to make that work. So those are the outcomes. If you follow this course, you will have a first draft screenplay, and I will have a read of your first page and your logline. And I may read your first 10 pages, may even read your entire screenplay. That's not bad for a free course, 6 months work, and whatever happens, your writing will improve. I am 100% sure of that. Just looking at the level of scripts you'll be reading and copying, you will improve. So that's a reading. I will be reading, obviously, and this is the same for the next group. If you're not part of this first 50, I'm going to launch a second group very soon, and I'm making the same commitment to those people. So I will also read a full screenplay. I will also read some of the first 10 pages, and I will read everyone's first page and logline. Now, the pledges, that's what I expect from you, and most of you have already done this. Because it's a free course, there's a danger that it feels like you're not missing out on much if you drop out. for whatever reason. Now, I'm not going to accept that, okay? I've made a significant effort to put this together. If you're in, you are in. And if for whatever reason you decide to stop, that needs to hurt you, okay? In the same way that if you pay thousands of dollars for a course, you don't complete the course, that hurts. Now, you need to approach this course as if you had paid $1,500, which is the value that I've put on it. And that's why I asked you, and most of you have already sent me your pledge, where you could choose from 3 options. Either you pay me or a charity of my choice a certain amount, and that's an amount that should be significant. And $50 that doesn't hurt anyone who's got internet. All right. So the pledges I've received range from 2 weeks' rent to $2,000. And I'm not going to name names, and I don't want you to publicize the amounts that you have pledged, but I want everyone to be reasonably on the same level here. So either you pledge money or you pledge volunteering work for the story department, that is the website, the online site I'm running, or you do something really useful that is at the same time unpleasant, and then you need to post evidence on Facebook. So more detail about those pledges for the second group after this webinar. I can email you if you're interested, but you must commit to this pledge before you're allowed into the course, because I know otherwise it won't work. And with these pledges, there's a large degree of certainty that it will help you with accountability. Okay, the content. So I've already mentioned a few things. The first part I call Osmosis Screenwriting. Osmosis, you learn something by doing it, by being in the middle, without really making a huge effort. It's as if it happens by itself. The first part happens in what I call the Scriptorium. A little bit more about that in a minute. Second part is something that sounds familiar to my students, reverse screenwriting. Reverse screenwriting is using your skills of writing scenes to transcribe a film that's already made. So normal screenwriting is you write the script, then you make the movie. Reverse screenwriting is the opposite. You look at a finished film and then you reconstruct the screenplay. With my students so far, I've only done about a scene or 2 scenes. This course is serious. You will transcribe an entire feature film. It's up to you which one. You pick one of your favorite films, ideally one that you do not have the screenplay for, or you haven't read the screenplay at least, because you will need to transcribe that film into a professional industry standard screenplay, following all the conventions and formatting. It's a slog, but it's start that until you're quite familiar with the form after 100 days of writing and reading. So a bit more about that Scriptorium again in a minute. And then finally, the third part is creative screenwriting. That's where you want to get to. It is being creative and express your ideas in a screenplay format. And you will be able to do that once you've gone through the first 2 parts. Once you've spent 150 days training yourself, you're ready to write whatever you want to write. And you will be amazed at the ease, the effortlessness of the work. Once you reach that point, you will have built that muscle memory that will do much of the work for you, because you have been writing for 150 days. You just continue writing, only now you write your own ideas in the same conventions, in the same format. My previously held beliefs that you need to write a logline and an outline, and you write a screenplay that way. And I still believe that that's how it works for professionals. But what we're doing here is familiarizing yourself with the form. And you will use that skill immediately. And I want that last part to go collect notes as you prepare for that stage. Over the first 150 days, you can collect notes about the story you want to tell, or you just write the bloody thing. You just write it and you see what happens. As I said, this is not the normal procedure I recommend, But this is an experiment, and if you're up for it, dive in. Why not? Okay, are you ready? We think too much and we don't act enough because we don't have time. All right? We want to achieve all this stuff, but we don't have the time to sit down and focus. Now, where did people find rest and focus in the Middle Ages? It was in the Scriptorium. In the Scriptorium, monks would like you to do. This is how you're going to familiarize yourself with the greatest screenwriters, the greatest screenwriting styles, the formatting conventions. By looking at a great script and copying it page by page in what we call the Scriptorium. So every day you will hand copy one page, 100 pages in total, so over 100 days. That's the first part of the course. And in the meantime, you will read 20 screenplays, one every 5 days. Okay. CP. So that's what you will have access into the Scriptorium, and I'll show you that during a video in a minute. Maybe I should run that video now, then that may reset the connection for some people. In any case, so on the site, you'll find the download materials. That's also where you upload the tasks at the end of every 5 days. And then on the Facebook page, you communicate. Okay, well, I'm going to run that video now. Hopefully that'll solve the issues for some people. And that is the introduction of the why that happened. Oops. Okay, let's go back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so the video, I'm going to load it. Here we go. And we're back. We are indeed the country with the fastest 4G mobile network, but yes, this cable leaves much to desire. And you know who to vote for if you want that to change, or the current situation to be undone. Anyway, that's for the Australians on the call. Back to the Facebook group. We've launched a Facebook group, and we've launched a Facebook group. There'll be a second one to be launched today. On the group, you need to find a buddy if you don't already have. I think most of you have got their buddies. Have you got a buddy? Can you maybe type the name of your buddy in the chat if you've got one already? For those who are about to join in for the second group, I will give you a link in a minute to the secret group, and then there you can find your buddy before we go into the course. So yeah, if you don't have a buddy yet, then you really need to make that your priority today. So go to the Facebook group after this webinar, make sure you've got someone to help you with accountability. So yeah, Sandy's got Belta, Lena's got Kate, that's great. Yeah, and as Tom says, there'll be Q&A later on. Marina, yeah, good for offering yourself up as a buddy. Monique, you need one. Jim has Keith. Great. So at least you know what you need to do. That's for the buddies on Facebook. Questions. If you, during the course, have any questions, please post them on Facebook first. It is a free course. I will not be available 24/7. I'll be very limited, available to a very limited extent. There will be, as I said, a monthly webinar, and you can always give me your status there and tell me what your qualms are. Facebook's also there to give each other encouragement, because just like in the hero's journey, there will be moments when you go through your ordeal, when it seems like the course has become impossible and you cannot live up to the commitment. Well, then your buddy will be there to help you through it. And finally, I know that quite a few people on this course have written before. So it's not an absolute beginner's course, which it could be. And if you've never written before, I think this is the right way in. That said, there are some experienced people on the course, and I would love you to not expose that too much. So don't use any tech talk. The idea is to talk about story without necessarily having to resort to the vernacular that we all know. So it's really about keeping it simple. And also in your reports, when you've read your script, you write a one-page summary, but you'll also write a report to write down what you've learned, and try not to fall into the theory jargon. That's for Facebook. Now, group 2. You get the same deal. I've already said that. You go to the Facebook group right after this webinar, and you can start within the next few weeks. I'm going to see how group 1 goes, and the idea is to start either 16th of July or the 1st of August. We'll see how we go, but it will be very soon. The first group had to wait for, I think it's nearly 2 months. I'm sure you can muster that patience. So what now? Well, just to sit it out, we're going to answer questions, and at the end of that, we're going to launch it. So let's see what your questions are at this particular point in time. I've got Tom on the call to help us out with the questions. All right, I've got a long list here. Fenella asks if we can have more than one buddy. No, we're doing one buddy. If you're part of the group of 5, the first 5 who joined in, then you've got me as a buddy, so I'll be your accountability buddy, and obviously you've got each other as well. Dr. Chandana, how do we know if we're in the first 50? Well, if you are, then you know. So you don't know, that means that you'll be in the second group. And it's only people that have access to the existing Facebook group right now that are in the first 50. Marina, is it okay to mention Writer Duet screenplay software? Absolutely not. Not at this stage, Marina. We're not using any software. I'm going to recommend to use just a simple processor, what do you call them? Word processor, because you don't need software to copy the screenplay. You're going to handwrite it, and if you're not handwriting it, you're going to use a Word or text edit or Notepad for PC. If you have Final Draft or any of the other software packages, that is the third and last option. I'm not recommending it, but if you must, then go for it. But no, we're not, at this stage, we're not talking about software at all. Julie, yes, you're going to hand copy a script that you select from the list that you will see in the Scriptorium. There's a list of 20, so there's a great diversity in scripts. They're all about 100 pages, not much difference as you saw in the little video, and you pick one of those to copy. Where's the secret group? Well, it's secret, David. I'll give you the link after the questions. Jamie, if this part now only for the first 50? No, this is for everyone. Which group are you in? If you're part of a Facebook group, then you're in the first 50. If you're not, then you're in the second group and you'll get access before the webinar ends. Anne says, I'm not sure if I'm ready to commence the course today. Can I perhaps join the next group? Yes. If you're not sure, if you're not ready, what you do is you become part of the Facebook group, and from there we'll guide you to the next group. And if you're not ready, then there may be a group 3. We'll see how we go. Course students need buddies. Who are they? Yeah, you need to find your buddy yourself, Daniela. That's what the Facebook group is for. Just post a message looking for a buddy, and then hopefully someone responds. You can also approach people directly. You can first gauge, what sort of person they are from what they posted, and then you approach them directly if you would like anyone in particular as your buddy. Can I join the Facebook page too? Jamie asks, is that just for group 1 or 2? I think I've answered that question. Okay, what if I'm being deliberately unsocial by not being on Facebook? That's Makul. Makul, yes, that's a problem, hey? Maybe you need to be part of the core group of 5 in the second group, so I can be your accountability buddy. Let's think about that. I also don't think you need the absolute beginner's course, Makul, but we'll see. And is the financial pledge applicable only if you drop out? Yes. There's no payment if you sit out the 6 months. If you just do the work, and everyone can do it. If you have up to an hour a day, then you can do the work. Sandy, I'm in the Scriptorium Osmosis Screenwriting page, but I don't have access to the Superman versus Batman page. There's no link to it on the bottom. Okay, that's not a problem because that's only a sample. I'm going to launch the real one in a few seconds. Ulla asks, to be part of the second group, will you also be sent an email? We'll start communicating in the new Facebook group for the second group. And then after that, yes, I will communicate via email. Belta, is it possible to listen to the webinar again? I was continuously kicked out for about 5 minutes. I'm going to edit a proper version of this without any interruptions. That will be available later today. So yes, you can listen to it again. Julie asks if is there a transcript. I missed some because it dropped out. Yeah, there'll be a full replay the way you want it. Good. So we're going to launch. I'm going to give you the link now. We've tested this link before, so that should work. Let's see. Keep an eye on the right-hand sidebar where the chat is. So there, yeah, you've just seen appear the Immersion Screenwriting Program. Join the course now for free by using your secret discount code. That's for the first group. So the first group can launch straight into the course by clicking on this. In a minute, I'm going to give the second group a link to the Facebook group. Okay, so this you can't do much with because you don't have that secret code that was released in the first Facebook group. But if you keep an eye on that sidebar, I will show a second offer in a minute, and that will have the link to your second Facebook group. So that's where you will find the communications to start. Marina says, apologies for the repetition. You mentioned Fountain. Is it okay to start learning that markup language now and use that for our assignments? Yes, absolutely. Let me say a few things about Fountain. So as I said, I will not promote. I'm an official reseller of Final Draft, and I could make a fair bit of money trying to sell that package to all of you. I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to show you how you can write a screenplay using the proper format without any professional package at this stage. Okay, so there's a syntax called Fountain, and it's for people who are familiar with markdown languages. That's a very simple way of writing on a computer. Fountain is a markdown language for screenwriting. You can use it in any existing word processor, as I said, in Word for Mac or Word for PC. The simple text edit, which is a basic component of the Mac operating system, or the notepad on the PC. You can just write your full screenplay there in the right format by following the Fountain syntax. Now, there's a link to the Fountain syntax on the Scriptorium page, and I recommend you read that through. It's from John August's page. John developed this together with Nima Yosefi, I think. And it's a really, really powerful way of writing scripts anytime, any place without the need of dedicated software. My first choice would be that you handwrite it, that you hand copy it first. And then later you can use Fountain if you wish. Okay, Lena says it didn't work for me. Now, we're going to try and figure that out. We have had a few people successfully sign up. I think we've got a dozen already in. So it seems to work. Ellie asks, is the second group also of 50 people? Yeah, we'll see how we go, how I can manage that number, Ellie. But my gut feel is that we'll limit that to 50 as well. Okay, so, and this link I will post in the Facebook group in a minute as well. So you don't need to just come back to this webinar, because the link will be in Facebook. Now, here is the link for the second group. So by clicking on that button at the bottom on the right-hand side, join the group now, you should be able to go to the second group and request an invitation. Okay, you won't immediately be in, but once you're there, we can give you access. And let's see if that works. We're going to see if we can do that real time. So I have my Facebook page open here, and I'm waiting to see. Okay, we've got the requests come in. We've got Liz, we've got Nolene, David. Yeah, that seems to work. So I'm giving you guys access, and I will stop this at 50. So the first 50 will get in. I've got about 45 requests now. So it's looking like, we'll let more people in, and then from there, we'll siphon you to the next group for the course. The goldfish are cute, aren't they, Marina? All right, if you have other questions, now's the time, because we're running towards the end of this webinar. And the communication will continue. So, it's the end of the webinar. It's not the end of the course for group 2. It's the beginning of our communication in the Immersion Screenwriting 2 group. And I've got quite a few members already. And I keep clicking. A lot of requests there. So I see still about 32 people who are and I think you can add yourselves as well. So once you're in, you can let other people in as well. How do we take this course? Julie, very good question. All you really need to do is go to the site, and the steps will be there. A critical element is the launch of the first script, and I'm doing that as we speak. So if you go to the course now and you update the lesson, you will see which is your first script. Let's see who comes back to the chat first. Have you seen which is the first screenplay that you'll be reading? Because it is live now. You should be able to find the link to the script as your first lesson right beneath the Scriptorium link in the course website. You've got the link to the site, and I'll just to make it easy for you, I'll post it again here in the chat. Okay, there you go. Copy and that's the link. And when you go there, well, it's actually not the link. Can make it easier. You'll see straight from the link what the first script is going to be. There you go. So, and you obviously only those with the secret code will be able to access that. Second group will need to wait a little bit, and you'll get access in the next few weeks. Good. How many people have we got in group 2 so far? Heaps. Members. I'll share my screen so you can see what's going on there. Okay, here we go. Screen sharing. There's a Facebook group. Now this is the site. I'll share that with you. So that's going to be our first script, Breaking Bad. And going through it, as you click here, you open it up. You saw that in the video before. And here's where you download the script. It's a fairly short script, obviously, but I thought that's an easy way in. You'll need to summarize that, don't forget, and also write what you learn from reading this particular one. Julie, yes, it says purchase, but if you put in the code, it's free. So for group 1, the secret code's been shared on the Facebook group. Put in the secret code and you will get access for free. David, that's right. That's only for the first group. Who's still pending? Joe's still pending. Juan is asking for which link? Okay, Monique, the coupon code, if you don't already have it, then it means you're in group 2, you'll need to exercise patience. Sorry about that. Since we're not in the first group, we have to wait 2 weeks till we're able to join. That's right, Julie. For now, what you need to do is go into the Facebook group, the new Facebook group Immersion 2. From there, you'll get the instructions and you'll be up and running in much less time than group 1. As I said, group 1 had to wait for 8 weeks while I put all this together. You guys will be able to get going in the next few weeks. Hope that's fine. Good. I think we've come to the end of the questions. You've got your link, you've got access. The idea was to fill in a profile, but it seems that you don't have access to your profile on the website. That's okay. We'll find a different way of reposting your pledge. I'll communicate that with you via email or via the Facebook group. So what do you do now? You go to the Scriptorium, pick one screenplay to copy, and you start writing that one. And then you start reading the Breaking Bad screenplay. At the end of the 5 days, or before those 5 days are up, you'll post a one-page synopsis of that screenplay, as well as a report, a 500-word report of what you learned from reading that script. There's a little quiz for you to complete. And then in 5 days, on the 6th of July, the next script will be released. Okay, that will be a feature screenplay. You'll get screenplays from various eras. They're all roughly the same length. Oh no, the ones you read are a bit the varying lengths. There are also a few unproduced screenplays. There's a few unproduced scripts that I thought were very good to study, so you see what sort of screenplays were picked up and is the industry is interested in, even without names attached. Gita asks, how do I access the Scriptorium? You use the code that I posted in the Facebook group. If you're in the second group, you wait. Chris, still pending. If I missed out. Okay, no, you haven't missed out. Let me go and give you access. Where are the requests? Here we go. Terrence, Andrea, CB, Sebastian, Deborah, Michael, Ainsley, Morgan, Jerry. You've all got access now. Chris, yeah, you're in. Benedict, Ellie, Tamsin, Murian, good to see you. D. Gita, you're into the second group, so not into the Scriptorium, you'll have to wait. Adri, Kim, Mandy, Georgina, Susan, Raul, Octavia, Tamsin, Maria, Chandana. Now, just for those who are wondering what that Podlet talk was about in the beginning of this webinar, the Pod is an initiative in Australia, in Canberra, where writers follow a development program. At the end, they have an opportunity to be guided into pre-production. And the participants of that program, we call them Podlets. And that initiative just started last weekend. So that's what people were talking about. All right. So, Lena, I'll talk to you offline. We'll communicate either via email or on the Facebook page. David, is the 5-day deadline each Friday? No, it doesn't go by the week. It's really 5 days. And then on day 6, the next script is released. So everyone who was pending on the second group should now be in. Suggestions for people that are not English native tongue. David, it's a native English, well, it's an English speaking course, not native. I'm not a native speaker. But you'll be reading English screenplays. So at the end of the 100 days, you will have read about 400,000 pages of English language. And that's a way of getting there. I hope that helps. Daniela, at Scriptorium, there's only one page. So once you're in, you should have everything on that one page. Jamie, will everyone get into the second Facebook group? Can't see if I'm in yet. Yeah, that's all done. All right. It seems like everyone who wanted to be part of the second group is in there. Yes, Marina, 400,000 pages. That's 20 sorry, I said pages. I meant words. Did I scare you there? Yeah, that's a commitment, isn't it? 400,000 pages. No, 400,000 words. Monique, once we're in the Facebook group, where do we get the code? I will post that later. So you'll need to exercise patience for now. Daniela asks, we transcribe any page or first page? Yeah, you do first page first, and then at a rate of 1 page per day. Gita, I'm now in group 2, but I don't have the secret code to log into Scriptorium, so I assume we're waiting for a week for that, as we are in group 2. That's correct. In fact, it'll be longer than a week. I want to make sure that everything runs fine. Remember, this is an experiment. This is the first time this course runs, and I want to see how those first lab rats fare in that first group before I throw all the others in as well. So let's see if they can swim, and then, yeah. Sarah, how do I ask a question? I know Tom said, but I can't seem to see. Well, Sarah, I'm having an eye on the chat box now. So if you want to ask a question, just put it in chat. Fenella, yes, there's more than 50, but we'll see who remains after I'm asking you to pledge your commitment. In the previous group, there were more than 52, but they didn't all survive, because remember that you need to pledge your commitment, and that filters a few people. John asks, how and where do we find the fountain syntax? It's in the Scriptorium. Ulla, not a question. Just want to say thank you. This is fantastic. Thank you, Ulla. That's very kind of you. Veronica, we'll add everyone who is... just for clarity, we're not limiting the Facebook group too. So everyone who wants to get in will get in. From there, we'll see how many go into Immersion 2. And that will start in about 2 weeks, I would say. Good. We're going to wrap up here. Any further questions, I recommend you post on the group. I'll answer them there. And I'm sure that some of your buddies will be able to answer them as well. Oh, and you can start finding your buddy, by the way. So if you're in group 2, don't wait. Find your buddy. It makes it easier once everything's ready. Good. John, I'll answer your question offline. It's 5 to 12. I think some people have had to leave. We're going to wrap up. Thank you for joining. I am super excited about this. Keep an eye on what's happening on the Facebook groups. We'll be back with another webinar in about a month's time. to follow up on group 1, and by then group 2 should have started. So keep an eye on Facebook and your email, and don't forget, read and write every friggin' day. Thanks for joining. Bye.